Hey there, it's Joseph, and welcome back to the channel on San Miguel de Allende Secrets. And today we're going to talk about the streets named in colonial Guadalupe, many from Mexican artists. As always, if you need more information in the description box below, there's links to various websites, including Amazon, that has the complete series of books in the San Miguel de Allende Secrets book series, all of which have been bestsellers in Mexican history and travel. Colonial Guadalupe was named for the grandmother, Guadalupe Dominzain Fonseca, and she was my home builder's grandmother. His grandfather, Luis Alvarez Tellez Giron, owned the Fabrico Aurora and built the neighborhood of Guadalupe as employee housing, featuring dirt streets until fairly recently. Back during the 1930s, large landowners feared the government would confiscate property to distribute to the poor, so colonial Guadalupe started with no formal plan beyond quickly establishing some employee housing. Payments for the property were subtracted from the workers' pay. If you ever really want to see a village that features some of the most picturesque employee houses I've ever seen in a factory town, go on down to Soraya, S-O-R-I-A, just south of Commonfort, and runs along the river and is lovely. Anyway, back to colonial Guadalupe. Apparently my builder's grandparents were art lovers, as the majority of the streets are named for famous and fascinating Mexican artists. Also, his grandfather invited input from his grandsons, and that's where some of the sillier names came from, along with streets named for then popular tunes heard over the radio. Cree-Cree, which means cricket, as pictured in the cartoon there in the middle of the page, was named for the composer and performer of children's songs, Francisco Gabilondo Soler, commonly known as Cree-Cree, or the cricket. He was a marvel of voices, like Mel Blanc in the United States, and he could do many, many vocal tricks. Cree-Cree wrote songs from the point of view of an animal or other underdog that has problems fitting in. His most famous song is called The Ugly Doll, and tells the tale of the unwanted doll who became friends with the broom, spider, mouse, and the like that lived with her up in the attic. Cree-Cree was a unique musician due to the multi-generational endurance of his songs. If you ever want to get your Mexican pal singing from their childhood memories, simply hum a few bars of a Cree-Cree song. To the left and right is the elegant, gorgeous, and arrogant leading lady of Mexico's golden age of film, Maria Felix. She started her career as Miss Guadalajara, a city still known for home of Mexico's most beautiful women. Similar in looks and time frame to North Carolina's own Ava Gardner, they were competitors for the same parts, though Felix refused any Hollywood offers, fearful of, quote, forever being cast as a Native American. Also known for her many husbands and museum-quality jewelry and art worth well over $7 million. Maria Felix was a polarizing figure, loved or hated, but little felt in between for her. When appearing as the Virgin of Guadalupe in the film, she quipped she was prettier than the original. It was that attitude that kept her name off the streets of Guadalupe until the developer's death and someone went in and renamed one of the streets Maria Felix. Augustin Lara is one of the most popular songwriters and a street name in colonial Guadalupe. His songs are still being reinterpreted by popular singers. He was also one of the spouses of Maria Felix, and luckily, their streets, like their lives, no longer intersect. There's a street called Mario Moreno. He's better known as Cantinflas, the most accomplished Mexican comedian of Mexico's golden age of cinema. He was a genius of physical comedy, on par with Charlie Chaplin or Lucille Ball. Cantinflas is best known to English-speaking audiences for his Golden Globe-winning performance in the film Around the World in 80 Days. Cantinflas owned 2 hotels by the Mirador on the Real de Querétaro, one with a statue of him in the lobby, and the other has a grand mural featuring his pal Maria Felix coming to the hotel. You can see that down there on your right-hand corner. Calzada de la Luz. I've always assumed that this street was named for the Virgin of the Light, Maria de la Luz, an image of Mary that is a patron for electricians like many of the men that worked at the Fabrico Aurora. Others assume the street was named after the nearby CFE, the electric company facility, providing electricity, or Luz. Neither is correct. La Luz is named for colonial Guadalupe's namesake's sister, Luz. Why it has the grandiose title Calzada, implying a main and grandly decorated road, It's still a bit of a mystery. There's a street named Jaime Nuno Roca. He was the composer of the Mexican national anthem. And running parallel to it is another street for Francisco Gonzalez Bocanegra, the poet who wrote the lyrics for the Mexican national anthem. There's a street called Maria Garver. She was the first female composer to achieve international acclaim. She is best known for the song What a Difference a Day Makes, which was popularized in English by Dinah Washington and has been covered by numerous singers. Up there in the right-hand corner you see Guti Cardenas. He was a composer, singer, and guitarist that promoted the Yucatan style of music to a wider audience in the United States. He was shot and killed at age 27 in a bar fight. There's a street name for Amado Nervo, one of the most important Mexican poets of the 19th century. His most popular work, The Immovable Loved One, was published after the death of his wife, a decade prior to his own. There's also a street name for Pancho Pandera. Pancho was an advertising cartoon of a young boy used since the 1950s to promote the nutritional value of cocoa milk, a chocolate milk powder on par with the rabbit that promoted Quick in the North. Over the decades, Pancho Pandera evolved from a simple country boy to a sporty modern youth. Pandera means panther, and this shirt features a black panther across his chest, accenting his health from drinking all that chocolate milk, much like spinach aided Popeye. And lastly, there's a street named Marito Ledesma. Poetry written by, and that's the name of the poet who wrote poetry by a local man named Lobino Zavala, and it was done under his nom de plume. Zavala was one of the two San Miguel's notaries, then an pal of the developer. Today, the developer, his spouse Guadalupe, and her sister Luz all rest in the colonial Guadalupe Church, Cristo Rey, or Christ the King, where they had donated the land. They also donated the land for the bus station and other civic projects around town. Personally, I still find Guadalupe's meandering streets one of the easiest neighborhoods to get momentarily lost in. When I do, it's easy enough to distract my disorientation by viewing the street names, recalling the artists and their contributions to present-day art and culture. As always, feel free to click like or subscribe below, and that way you'll get notifications of every time a new video comes out on the San Miguel de Allende Secrets YouTube channel.